Hi, this is Yoav with your Never Binge Again coaching insight, and today we're going to talk about skipping meals and binging. Every day our clients use the following format to check in with their coaches via email. We receive thousands of emails like this every single month. And in these coaching insight videos, we address the most difficult client questions we receive. So today we're going to talk about an issue that happens often with our clients, and that's skipping meals and then binging. And the question might be something like, yesterday I was running errands and I missed dinner, and by the time I came home I was so hungry I couldn't stop myself and binged. What should I do? So let's get right to the point. If you suffer from binge eating, you simply just can't afford to skip meals. You must plan your meals in advance, and you have to stick to your plan, because your meals are kind of like the skeleton of your day. Without them, your rational eating will just crumble. And when we talk to our clients about skipping meal and then binging, they describe becoming panicked. It's like the rational thinking or the rational judgment becomes suspended, and they ignore all their previous decisions about food until that hunger emergency is over. On the other hand, when they know when their next meal is coming, when they don't skip meals, they know when their next meal is coming, they can avoid binging and overeating even if they feel a bit of hunger, even if they feel a craving coming on, because they know they're not in a state of emergency. There'll be just a couple of hours, a few hours, and then they'll get their next meal. But when they don't know when their next meal is coming, if they skip a meal or if they don't plan their meals in advance, they don't know when food will become available, then their lizard brain kind of generates this false emergency, which in turn suspends. Again, it's all in quotes because it doesn't really suspend. We'll talk about this in a minute. Suspends the rational judgment, and that often results in a binge. So here's what you should do to absolutely minimize the chances of skipping a meal. Now, granted, you might skip a meal, and we'll talk about what to do when that happens, but you really must do your utmost to avoid skipping meals. And here's what you should do. The first thing is to prioritize eating your meals in your own mind. You have to understand that those regular meals are the foundation of your life, and they dictate everything. Your ability to work. You can't work if you're too hungry. You can't work if you're high on sugar and then crash. So eating a good regular meal really dictates your ability to work, your ability to be there for your loved ones, your ability to enjoy life. So again, these meals are kind of like the skeleton. You build your entire life around them. Schedule your meal times in advance. Know when and where and what you're going to be eating. Okay, so in the beginning, that especially if you don't do that now, it's going to take a little of planning and a little getting used to. But once you do, that would just be more even easier than it is now, because you know exactly what you're going to eat. And yes, it might sound or be a bit kind of robotic, but it's better than just, binging and eating sugar and crashing and skipping meals. So yeah. The third thing is not, and that might seem obvious, but a lot of people do that. Don't schedule anything else during meal times unless it's critically, absolutely, terribly, horribly important. Don't schedule anything else. And that means that you should train the people in your life to know that your meal times are sacred. That means your coworkers, if they want to meet during meal times, have a work meeting, that's a no. Bosses, that might take a little more work, but tell them your meal times are important. Like it's a short time, and you'll be happy to meet with them later, and just make that and explain why it's important to you. Make that an important thing. Explain how it helps you become a better employee. when you eat regularly. If you've got a decent boss, they'll understand. Spouses, children, everyone. It kind of goes back to that analogy of when you sit on a plane and there's an emergency, you put your oxygen mask on yourself first and then help everybody else. It's the same thing, right? If you want to be able to function well and contribute to everybody in your life, then you should eat your meals first. Cannot stress this enough. Okay, so if you have to move your meal time, make sure that you eat as soon as it becomes possible. Again, your meals are sacred, right? If there's like a work emergency and you have to spend an hour dealing with it, when you're done with the emergency, move whatever else was there so you can eat your meal. Don't skip it. Okay, it's way more important that you don't become starved and panicked than that you go about your day. And that's the same with kids, husbands or wives, friends, whatever. If you know that your next day is going to be problematic, you're traveling, you have meetings, then prepare in advance, right? If you go out for lunch regularly and you know that tomorrow you won't be able to do that, then pack your lunch, prepare it in advance and pack it so you'll be able to eat it at your desk before the meetings begin or after they end. So prepare. So you won't be forced to skip a meal. And one last thing, in the case of a disrupted schedule, improvise, don't skip. So again, that makes sense, but a lot of people don't do that. So let's say there was an emergency with your kid, you had to rush to get them home, and then you're at home and you don't have your regular lunch and there's nothing at home that is perfect for you. It's not 100% perfect for your lunch. Then instead of skipping, what you do is you get the next best thing, right? So you might not have your salad, but if you can have a low-fat sandwich and a couple of tomatoes, that's okay. Having the next best meal instead of skipping it is way, 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 way better. So what you want to do is try to avoid skipping a meal as much as possible, but what you can do if you do skip a meal is recognize that the feeling of starvation is a false emergency. People suffering from binge eating get into a panic state, we talked about that, and they think the world is ending, that they're starving. It's not. People can go without food for days and still be fine. You're not going to starve to death. So the first thing you need to do is notice that you're panicked, notice that you're feeling like you're starving and the world is going to end, and say to yourself, that's interesting. My lizard brain is making me think that I'm going to starve. That is an interesting thing. Create this kind of a separation between that feeling of starvation and your thinking. And then say to yourself, really, I'm not going to starve. What I'm going to do is I'm going to eat my meal now that I have the time, but I'm going to eat a regular meal. I'm not going to eat, a whole pizza or 2 hamburgers or whatever your lizard brain is already planning on eating because you're, quotes, starved. And then I'm going to stop, okay? Wait a few hours, maybe an hour, maybe half an hour, until I feel hungry again, and then eat again the meal that I should be eating. So let's say I skipped lunch, get home at 6 p.m., I eat lunch, wait half an hour, wait an hour, then I eat dinner. And that's it. I don't skip dinner because I just ate lunch. I wait until I become hungry again and eat my meal. So that's it. That is the coaching insight. I hope you'll be better equipped to cope with skipping meals, or rather not skipping meals. If you want to join our coaching group, then visit neverbingeagaincoaching.com. And if by chance you haven't read Never Binge Again, that's the first place to begin. Visit neverbingeagain.com and get a free copy of the book. It's a tremendously, I think it's the most popular book on binge eating in the world right now, written by my partner and friend Glenn Livingston. And I have a request. If you liked this video, please click the like button. I'm just asking because that really helps us get the word out about Never Binge Again and about this video. So if you have the time and you like this video, please click the like button. And of course, subscribe to our channel to get more coaching insights. And I'll see you in the next video.